Thank you for joining me on the mat today. We're going to start today's class in a seated position. You can be cross-legged, your legs can be in front of you, your legs can be straight, whatever feels comfier for you today. And we're going to find our breath here. So start sitting up really nice and tall on your sit bones. We're thinking head is stacked over your ribs, over your pelvis, closing down your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so. And we're going to start with our breath. So bringing one hand to your heart, one hand to your lower belly, if that feels okay for you. For me, it's just really nice to tune into that breath as we breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. As you breathe in through your nose, feel a lift into both of your hands. As you exhale through your mouth, feel your shoulders sink slightly further down your back. Seat is really nice and tall, really proud. That head is really stacked over your shoulders. You can be up against the wall if that feels better for you. Throughout class, just trying to tune into your body to see how you're feeling. I'm going to teach the class in layers, so feel free to come with me for the challenge or stay at an option that might feel a little bit better in your body today. Make the next breath your deepest and widest breath like this. In through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Gently start blinking open your eyes. Circle your arms out, around and up. Interlace your hands to the top. Reach up and reach over to one side to a point that feels comfy or okay for you today. Open up through those side ribs, open up through that side body. Coming back to center, reach up and reach over towards the opposite side. Coming back to center, looking up towards those hands and circle those arms out, around and down, shoulders roll back, shoulders roll forward. Okay, from here, we're going to find a hip opener. Your hands come back behind you. Your feet are forward, as wide as the mat. I'm just going to turn to show you that. So your fingertips are facing towards you. Your knees are bent. Your feet are grounded and wide. Can you drop your knees over to one side? Your eye gaze comes to the other side. I want you to push that mat away, lifting up through your chest. And then we knock over towards the other side, knees in one direction, eye gaze into the other direction. This is really nice to find an opening through those hips, going at your own pace. And I just think that eye gaze in the opposite direction is really nice to find a bit of a spine twist. Really keep your chest forward, pushing that mat away with those hands. Let's go for one more in either direction. Evening yourselves all the way out. Coming back to center and freeze. Push that ground away. Find a cross-legged position. Hands find that mat in front of you. And we're going to find a 4-point kneeling position this morning. Okay, hands come underneath those shoulders. Knees are underneath those hips. If it feels too much on knees at any point, you can use a cushion, a pillow, or you can roll over that mat. And if it feels too much on our hands, we come into an forearm or elbow position. Okay. Keep your eye gaze forward. Can we find a cat-cow? We drop your belly down, your eye gaze lifts. We scoop your belly, your eye gaze comes towards your knees. This is prenatal-friendly class. So we're thinking about the articulation through the back of your spine to your pelvis. As you round your spine, you look towards your knees. Almost imagine you're giving that baby a hug, really drawing everything in, finding that space through that lower back. And then you drop that belly down. Let's go for one more on either extreme. Pushing that mat away with those hands. Find that rounding. And find that extension. Your eye gaze comes forward. Maybe draw that right knee in, slightly close to the body. And we're going to lift that left leg back behind you. We're going to continue with those hip openers. And we're going to draw circles with that knee. So your knee comes all the way down. We circle out, around and back. Eye gaze comes forward. Remember that option is there to drop down onto your elbows if that feels better for you today. So elbows is slightly lighter on that upper body. Hands, you have to challenge that stability slightly more. This should feel really nice, and just almost teasing yourself into that space. Doesn't matter if we're sinking down slightly into that opposite hip. We're finding that opening through that side body, through that waist. Let's start reversing that direction. Maybe seeing how it feels to make bigger and then smaller circles. Let's go for 2 more in this direction. Final one, find that center point. And you're going to extend that back leg all the way long, okay? Toes are tucked all the way down. You're going to reach your opposite hand long. So for me, it's my right hand, my left leg. We're coming to a bird dog. I want you to keep your shoulders and your hips stacking down. So we're not knocking from side to side. We're trying to keep as level as we can. Eye gaze towards the front edge of the mat. Can you lift your front hand up? Hand comes in line with your ear. You drop it down. Point those back toes, lift that leg up. Foot comes in line with your bum and you tap. You either stay single or you lift that hand and your leg at the same point and you drop all the way down. I want you to stay lifted into that lower belly. This is such a good move to challenge that upper body strength, your shoulders stabilizing you, as well as that abdominal strength and that lower back. Really important to help having that strength, especially if we're finding a bit more of a load in through your tongue. Eye gazes forward, we exhale to lift, we inhale to drop. Really nice. I want you to imagine you're almost being pulled in 2 different directions. Keep it slow, keeping it controlled. In 3, we hold up. 2. You either stay here or we're going to add a challenge. You hold up. Can you draw your hand and your leg away from that center line? Come back to center and we tap down. We lift. We reach, challenging that balance. If it feels too much, reduce that range or come back to those lift and lows. Really good. We've got 4 more like this. 3, 2, final 1, come back to center, freeze. If we can, we're going to finish with small pulses of that hand and your leg. Keep pointing those toes. Eye gazes forward, you're pushing that mat away with that front supporting hand. We're here for 4. In 3, we drop your hand down. 2, 1, hold there, drop that hand down. Can you open that leg out to the side? Maybe knee reaches out, and you're going to do small stretches forward and backwards. So it's like you're rocking your weight back into that back here, and then you come all the way forward. This should feel nice. We're releasing especially through that top shoulder. As you come back, maybe release that front wrist and draw some circles of that wrist. Find that space through your inner thigh, in through your glute. If it feels too much, do it there. You can come forward and then do those rotations. Can we go for 3 more rocks? 2. Hold all the way back, bum is back towards your heel. Coming all the way up. You come back into that 4-point kneeling position, and we're going to come lying down off the side, working that same leg. So for me, it's my left leg on top. Okay, we're coming to a side lying position. We can either be on your elbow, which is a little bit more challenging, or you can come to lie all the way down, whichever feels better for you. Your knees are stacked forward. Your heels are in line with those knees, and it's almost like they're directly down in line with the front of the mat. Your bottom waist is lifted, your top hand is on that hip, okay? Elbow is up towards the ceiling. We're in that 90-degree angle underneath your knees today. Can we lift that top leg up? Your knee comes in line with your hip. Can we flex your foot, kicking it all the way out long? Heel comes in line with your bum. Bend your knee to come in, and then you close, just hovering that knee off if you can, or if you want to make it slightly lighter, you drop it all the way down. So we lift, we kick, draw back in, and we close. So we can be all the way lying down. You can almost support your head with your hand up if that feels better for you, or we can come onto that elbow. So those are your options today. I'm just going to be on my elbow for a bit, just so I can see myself and you can hear my voice. Really nice. Trying to keep that leg hovered if you can now, adding that bit more of a challenge. If it feels a bit uncomfy underneath that lower waist, we can always add a jumper or a pillow just underneath to support you. And you can also add a blanket underneath your bump as well. That's sometimes quite nice to give you a little bit of support. Really good. Exhale as you kick out. I like to have my hand just behind my bum, so my thumb is just behind my bum. That can really start to feel those side glutes engage, and also just check we're not rocking forward and backwards. So we're trying to really keep those hips stacked one on top of the other. You're pushing that ground away, whether you're lying all the way down or whether you're on your elbow. Okay, the next time that leg is long, we hold there, we freeze. I want you to imagine we're now riding a bike. You bend your knee to come in. You kick it forward towards me, you glide it back. Keeping that foot in line with your hip as you can. We're trying once again to not rock too much of that hip forward and backwards, trying to keep that control of that pelvis. This is so good to add that support through your glutes to your pelvis, and then that will also support through your lower waist. Really nice. It's a really big bite. We're trying to really push that foot away as if you're almost cycling through water. Okay, the next time that leg is long, hold there, and we're going to reverse. You sweep that leg forward, you bend, and then you kick down. I like to point my toes, I sweep, you bend, and you kick, heel comes in line with that bum. We're here for 3 more. Keep pushing that ground away. 2. Final 1. Kick that leg long, drop it all the way down, and have a tap out of those glutes. Okay, we're going to keep coming to those glutes, I'm afraid. So your knees are going to now be stacked one on top of the other. I want your heels to come back in line with your bum in that clown position. Once again, lift those heels, just tap the back of those heels and just check you're in alignment this time. So we've gone from 90-90 to those heels back behind you. We're either on that elbow or we can come all the way lying down. That will feel a little bit more comfy. We're lifting up through that lower waist. Keeping those heels glued together, top elbows towards the ceiling. Heels stay glued as you open your top knee up. We close it to come all the way down. Okay, if we're all the way lying down, just make sure we're lifted slightly through that bottom waist. I know if we've got bumps, you might not be able to feel it, but I just don't want you to be dumping down there. So it's just that sensation of trying to lift up. Heels stay glued together that whole time. Hips stay stacked. It's an exhale as you open, inhale as you lower. Really nice. We should fire this up straight away, especially because you've just been already doing those legs. The next time we open up through your hips, hold there. Can you release your heels? We're going to draw those knees together and then we draw those heels together. So we're going from internal to external rotation. This is so good to find that opening through that hip flexor, that strength through that glute. These are your side glutes, your glute mid and meat, and these are what stabilize us as we walk, but we'll be stabilizing your pelvis a lot, especially as we're supporting through that bump. We're here for 3 more. 2, 1, drop that heel down, close it all the way down, and tap out through that glute. You can straighten and flex out that leg if you need. If you're lying all the way down, we're now going to all meet up onto your elbow, and we're going to come into a bit of a side plank series. So your elbow is going to be stacked underneath your shoulder, knees are stacked, heels are back. Okay, take a deep breath in. On that exhale, I want you to lift your hips and sweep that top hand up and over like a rainbow, and then we come all the way down. So you lift and you sweep, and then you come all the way down. Okay, I'm going to layer up if you want. You either stay here. Harder options to have that top leg all the way reaching long out in front of you. And an even harder option is to come into that full side plank. So I like to have my top leg in front, bottom leg behind. As you lift your hips up, make sure that shoulder is underneath, so directly over your elbow, and then you come down. Give me 3 more like this, open through that side body and that waist. Remember, those options are there. You can drop that bottom knee, or you can stay stacked on that bottom knee. Wherever you are, you're going to meet all the way up at that top point. Top hand is up towards the ceiling. Can we find a thread the needle? Hand threads all the way through. It goes underneath that shoulder, and then we come all the way up. If we're not used to a side plank, it might be nicer to do this on our knees. Your eye gaze looks towards that hand as it threads through, and then we reach all the way up. Give me 3 more. Remember, options are there if you want to make it harder. 2. The next time you reach all the way up, hold there, stay lifted through your waist. Can we get small pulses up and down, really lifting up through that waist, lifting up and pushing down through that shoulder. We're here for 4, 3, 2, hold all the way up at that top point and slowly sink yourselves down. Okay, we're going to come into our mermaid. Your right foot is going to come in front, your left leg behind. So it's almost like a Z shape of those legs, okay? So your front shin is in line with the front of the mat. Your left leg is come behind. I'm just going to turn so you can see me as well. And your left foot is behind your bum. Okay, we're going to find a bit of a hip opening once again here. Your right hand comes onto the mat. Your left hand reaches up and over. We come onto that opposite side, hand comes down, reach up and over. So we're in that Z sit. Your front foot comes and it almost kisses that front knee. Your opposite leg is all the way back behind you. Bending through that elbow as you come down. And then we come up and we come over. Final one like this, reaching up and over. Should feel nice after those side planks. Come to that center point, and we're going to come into a kneeling position for some arms. We can be high kneeling, we can be low kneeling. Your elbows are going to come in towards your ribs, towards your wrists. Your palms can be facing up as if we've got 2 trays of drinks on our hands. Can we open those elbows out? Palms go out the side and we come back. I'm just going to turn so you can see me. So your elbows stay in as we open up and we come back. I want you to start finding that space into your scapula. So the top part of your back as you open up and then we close. This is really nice for our posture. The next time you open up, you hold. Can you reach your hands all the way out? You draw in and then we close. We open those hands, we glide them out. We draw that back in and then we close. Really good control. We're keeping that same stacking position of your torso. Your head is stacked over your ribs, over your pelvis. We've got 4 more like this. 3, 2. The next time your hands are out, hold there, palms are down. Can we draw small circles of those arms? Kind of size of a side plate. Once again, we might be having a slight squeeze of those glutes. Your abs are working to stabilize you. I always find this one so deceptive. Can we start reverse direction of those circles? We've got that mermaid on that opposite side coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Find that pause, shake out those arms, and we're going to find that mermaid on the opposite side. So your left knee is bent, both of the knees are bent, your left shin is in line with the front of the mat, your left foot comes to that right knee, and your right leg comes behind. Left hand finds the ground. You open that hand all the way up and over, finding that rainbow. We come back to center, and we're going to go and float over the other side. Really nice. So going from side to side, it should feel nice to find that hip opening, as well as that opening to your torso and that side body. Make this one your final one. We're going to reach over towards the left or the side of that front leg, and we're going to come onto that side lying position on the other side. So we're going to come into that sideways to begin, into those side planks. We're down on that elbow. Your heels are back behind you. Lift up through your heels and drop them down, just making sure they're in line with your bum. Top hand can come onto your waist, or we're going to reach it all the way along as you lift your hips. We sweep up and over, and then we come all the way back down. If it feels too much, you can always bring that hand for support and just tease those hips up if you want. And then we come down. Okay, remember, we're really pushing down through that bottom elbow into that mat. You're lifting up through that sideways. Your challenge is, if you want to make it hard, you lift one leg all the way up. And if you want to make it harder again, you lift both legs up as you sweep up and over and glide all the way. You can always tease one or two full range, and then you come back onto one knee bent or two knees bent. This is so nice to find space through that side body, through those ribs. Let's go for two more like this. Final one. Remember, knees bent is an option. One straight leg is an option. And we hold. Top hand is up. Can we find a thread the needle? Top hand goes all the way underneath the opposite side. You look underneath that shoulder. You unravel. You come all the way up. Stay lifted through that lower waist. You twist. And you come all the way open. Okay, twists are so good because we hold so much tension in our upper body, especially if you're pregnant. You're going to be kind of almost like freezing the upper body, but it should feel really nice to find that release. It's really good to find space around your ribs as it's all kind of expanding and working as you're growing a baby inside of you. The next time you come all the way up, hold there, looking up towards that hand or eye gaze in front, and we go for a small pulse of those hips up and down. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop all the way down. You can have a quick release of that shoulder, that arm if you need. And we're going to come into those glutes. So option is you're either on your elbow, or I know you've worked a lot today, so we can be all the way sideline on your hand as well. We're going to start with those clams. So you're keeping those feet where they are. Your feet are in line with your glutes. Top hand is on your hip. We're lifting up through that lower waist. Heels come together. You open your top knee up and we close it down. We're keeping that bottom foot grounded the whole time as we open and then we close. Top elbow is up towards the ceiling. Okay, remember that option is there. If you want to make it hard, you can do this on your elbow. It's harder because it's having to stabilize you a little bit more the whole time. Your options are there once again to put a jumper or a blanket underneath your waist or your bum to support you as well. Top elbow shines up towards the ceiling. I like to have my thumb behind my glutes just to try and keep everything nice and stacked. We're here for 3 more. 2. Hold all the way up and freeze. Release your heels. We draw those knees together. We come back. We draw your heels together. So we're drawing those circles, knees, and then your heels. Really make sure we're not dumping through your neck. Eye gaze stays forward. Find those circles. Find that hip opener stretch. We glide your knees together. We glide your heels together. Let's go for 3 more like this. 2, 1. Heels come together, close those knees, tap out that glute. Okay, knees come forward in that 90-90 position. So it's almost like we're sitting on a really uncomfortable wooden chair. Your knees and your shins are in line with the front of your mat, okay? Remember, we're on our elbow, or we can come all the way lying down to make it slightly nicer. We lift that top leg up. Kick your leg all the way long. Bend it to come all the way in. You drop that knee, it either hovers or you collapse it all the way down. And then we go again. We lift, we kick, we flex that foot. You're kicking that heel away. Bend your knee and then come all the way down. Really nice. So find what for you is a comfortable lying down position. Side lying should feel really nice and supported on that bump. Really good to be working on that strength of those legs, especially those stabilizing legs. I'm just going to do it on my elbow. But remember, stay at whatever option feels better for you today. In 2, we're going to come into those bicycles. The next time you reach out, hold there. Okay, we're going to try and keep your foot in line with your hip. You bend your knee, you kick it forward, we sweep all the way back. We bend, you kick forward, we sweep back. Once again, we're not rocking and rolling too much for those hips. Keep pushing that ground all the way away. Really nice. Exhale as you press all the way out. Now let's start reversing. Point your toes, sweep forward, bend and kick all the way back and away. We point, you bend, we kick. Let's go for 3 more like this. Really nice. 2. Final 1. Freeze all the way out there. Lift that leg higher. Bend your knee, drop it down, and tap out through those glutes. Okay, we're going to turn and we're going to find that 4-point kneeling position once more. Your hands are stacked underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath those hips. Can we start with that cat-cow? Dropping your belly down, eye gaze lifts. Scooping your belly, eye gaze comes towards your knees. Remember, it's that hugging your baby sensation as you round that spine. So we're finding that articulation of the spine all the way from your crown of your head, all the way to your pelvis. Find that midpoint between those extremes and hold. We're going to lift that right leg up. It's the leg that was just working. Can we draw those hip circles? We draw all the way out and around. This should feel maybe a little bit nicer after you've done a bit more glutes now. Remember, the option is there to drop down to your elbows or your forearms if you want a little bit more support. And it doesn't matter if we're dumping into the other side at this point. We're finding that opening through your hips. Can we start to reverse the direction? It's like we're drawing that big circle all the way down on that ground. Let's go for 3 more. 2, 1, and pause. Extend that leg all the way back. So now as my right leg lifted, my left arm is extended. Remember, the options are there to come onto your elbow or to roll that mat over for your knee. Can we start with your arm and your leg weight in our bird dog? Make sure your hips are shining forward, your shoulders are shining down. We lift your top arm up. We tap it down, point those back toes. You lift your back leg up. You tap it down. You either stay single or you lift your hand and your leg and you drop down. It's an exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Eye gaze stays forward towards the front edge of that mat. Really nice control. We're really coming into that lower back, working through that strength of the back and those abs. Really nice to stabilize all the way through your hips, all the way through that pelvis. Really nice. Give me 3 more. 2. Hold all the way up on that next one. Can we find those reaches? Hands and legs go out the side. Come back to the center. You drop down. We lift. We reach. Come back to the center. And then we drop. Really nice. Lift. Reach. Come back to the center. And then drop. Remember, we can go back to those lift and lowers if that feels better for you today. Give me 3 more like this. 2. Final 1. After that reach, we find that midpoint and freeze. Push that mat away. Can we go for small pulses up and down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Freeze. Drop that hand down. Leg goes out to the side, and we're going to find those hip openings. So you're swinging those hips forward and back. This should feel really nice on those back glutes. Open up to those inner thighs. Remember that option is there when you're either forward and backwards to do circles with that front wrist that's been stabilizing. Find that pause, sinking your weight back in towards your hip. Come back to center. We're going to find a bit of a pigeon. Your left knee is going to come forward, your right leg comes back. You hold there. You're going to start up onto your hands, pushing that mat away. If it feels okay for you, you maybe drop down to one elbow and then the other elbow and mount all the way forward, finding that pigeon, finding that release. Depending on the size of your bum, might be feel nicer to be up onto your hands. Breathing into that space. Slowly push yourself up if you're lying all the way down. Come back onto your knees, and then we're going to glide the other knee forward, other leg back. You hold there, finding that really nice opening through those hips, through those glutes. Option, if you've got that space, to drop down and find that position on your elbows onto your forearm. Breathing into this space, finding those deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to glide ourselves up to a standing position to finish, taking your time getting there because we spent a lot of time on the mat. So just slowly walking your hands towards your feet. Draw your knees back together. We slowly start to find a small ball, and you're going to rock forward into your toes. Remember, the wall will grab something near you for support if you need. You slowly drop your heels down, hanging really heavy. And then we glide yourselves up to center, lower back, middle back, and then upper back. Shoulders roll back, shoulders roll forward. Okay, we're going to finish with some squats to finish the class. So feet about hip distance or slightly wider. You might want to have a little bit more of an external rotation now. Okay, we're going to find your squats. We're going to inhale to sink down, hands come in front. You exhale to straighten all the way up. We inhale to sink. You exhale to straighten, really good control. I'm just going to turn so you can see me. We inhale to come down, that's engaging through your pelvic floor. Eye gaze is forward. You exhale to come all the way up. If you want to make this a bit harder, you reach those hands forward as you come down. Inhale, standing up tall as you come all the way up. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's an inhale as you sink, and exhale as you stand up. We've got 4 more like this. 3, 2. The next time you come down, freeze, hands in front or hands in front. We're going to go for small pulses up and down. In 6, we freeze. Remember, you can stand and release at any point if you need. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Freeze there. Elbows come in towards your waist. Palms are forward. You stay in that low squat. Can you reach your hands back? You bend your elbows. Eye gaze is forward. You reach back and you come in. We're in those tricep extensions. I'm tricking you by keeping you in that squat a little bit longer and also coming into those arms. I'm just going to turn to see. So you draw your elbows back, your hands come in. The more you reach those arms back, the more you find it in those arms. We're here for 3. In 2, hold. 1, hands reach back, palms reach up, really small pulses up and down. This is it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly stand yourselves all the way up. Shake out through those legs. Give yourselves a massive smile. Like we did when we started, we circle those arms out and around and up. Reach those hands up. We slowly reach over to one side. Find that opening through your ribs, opening through your side body. Checking in to see how you feel now compared to the start of the class. Hopefully a little bit more open, a little bit more energized. I know also maybe a bit more tired as well. You reach up and you reach over towards the opposite side. Coming back to center, looking up to those hands. Circle those arms out, around and down. Shoulders roll back. shoulders roll forward. Give yourselves a massive smile. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. I really hope you enjoyed the class, and I really hope it felt okay and good in your body.